Today I'm going to be chatting about the athletic dead end. And the end result that we project to is a dead end when it's held out of us. Quite literally, the end result has no reality until we, the athletes, are at it, till we're in the process with it. In the meantime, the end result is a goal that we work towards in this moment, not in any other. And I think that's an important distinction to make. You know, if there's an over-attachment to the end result, there is no goal because you've lost sight of the process that takes you there. And that's important. And with the advancements that we've made in technology has come a lot of noise, lots of noise. In an athletic sense, far too much disassociation, detachment, deflection and projection that peels us off our focus, that takes us away from the areas that we need to be looking at and that we need to be paying attention to. And the volume of information available to us athletes now and in life generally is unprecedented, isn't it? How can anyone possibly keep up with and sort through the virtual avalanche of data that inundates us at every waking moment, that invades our space, that invades our focus, that invades our consciousness? Athletes are developing a choppy, oftentimes chaotic cognitive strategy that has sharply increased their susceptibility to dysfunction, to disassociation. So people who are misinformed can't make stable decisions, can they? And in today's world, information overload can paralyze even the best of thinkers. We apply technology without batting an eyelid. We just do it. We don't think about it because we want the technology to do the thinking for us. And where poorly understood technology requires our blind faith, we brush up against more and more areas where the gaps in our knowledge are handed over. We're not learning it, we're farming it. And it doesn't take a genius to see that we're likely to mishandle our most important decisions and lose the efficacy of our own intuition when we work this way, when we farm everything out, when we work on a projection, when everything's out here instead of in here. And what's the cost? Well, the cost is focus, process, and presence. And those things are all inner aspects of focus. Need proof? Marketing campaigns on social media keep their bites to, 2 minutes now for a reason, don't they? And people have lost their ability to focus, and that's why they do that, because they'll give something a few lines like this talk probably. And I guess that puts this presentation or this little video into the red zone for a good portion of people because it goes over 2 minutes. And I mean, jokes aside, it is quite scary that we can't hold our focus for more than 2 minutes. The ability to focus on process is going south. Suspicion and a lack of trust have become the norm of a generation fueled by the inability to sit still long enough to focus. That's a problem athletically. And leading to the inability of us to be able to make the decision, to put up with a challenge and to remain mentally tough enough to stay with the course and the process and its demands, what it wants of us. And this ability to maintain the one crucial function of the human athlete, to realize itself as the background stillness in which the process itself arises, in which our focus arises. If we don't have that, we don't have focus. We don't have an anchor. And when that background is blocked by noise and the obsession of the end result, that is the dead end. That is the literal dead end. And many lose their way in this dead end and only find an exit when the exhaustion of being in it sets them free, usually after giving up on the goal, because it's just too damn hard. So is this technology helping or hindering? And that's the question that we have to ask ourselves individually. And I mean, in psychological terms, you could tag this as an extension or an external locus of control. Everything is out there, and everything out there is to blame. So mental toughness is not a projection. It is not complexity. It can't be bought, and it certainly can't be circumnavigated with technology. There's no way to do that. If we think there is, we're kidding ourselves, and we're losing the importance of the focus. And it's the power of presence, and it's our ability to stay still inwardly while the outside world is in chaos that gives us our mental strength, that gives us our focus, that gives us our resilience. True power is calm at its core. That's the background calm that is the bedrock of strength. It can't be any other way. And we can draw conclusions of the greats of history who had to overcome the seemingly insurmountable without an ounce of technology. It's all throughout history. We don't need it. We're overdoing it. I'm not speaking against it. We're just overdoing it. And those greats always reference one critical factor: the ability to stay where you are in this process. That's your resilience. To make sure you chew what you have in your mouth before swallowing, and certainly before adding more food. Do you know, doesn't that just make sense? You know, it's a mistake to look too far ahead. There's only one link in the chain of destiny that can be handled at any one time. And Winston Churchill said that. And it's so true. And like he said in World War II, if you're going through hell, keep going. Don't stop. Don't project. Stay present. And what do I see as a coach? I see a suffocating talent base, starved of oxygen, weighed down by too much of the chain, and paralyzed by its own intrusive thought that is desperately trying to overcome gaps in knowledge that are largely irrelevant. A measurement of outside, of something that's arising from the inside, all of it driven, well, a lot of it driven by market pressure. So in Zen, there's a wonderful quote, right, that athletes could learn a lot from. We don't find the answers, we lose the questions. So if you lose the questions, you're not looking for answers. If you lose the questions, you're not looking for the outside. You're not looking to the end result. You're staying anchored where you are. And that's our strength. And that's our physical capacity. And that's our resilience. And that's what makes people great. And that's what gives us our talent. That's what takes us to our potential. And you know that everything else is just a veneer, a layer, an untruth. So if we want the truth, we have to look inwards. And if we want resilience, we have to stay with the process, because resilience requires presence. Because as soon as you move out of presence, you move into doubt and fear. You move into the future. And that erodes resilience. The second you look back at your past and the catastrophes that have occurred there, your resilience is being eaten away by what's happened before that isn't here now. And this is the truth of it. So the only mental strength we have, the only resilience we have, the only way to get in touch with our potential and our talent is to stay here, is to stay present, to not be attached to pure bullshit. Black and white, resilience, here and now. Thanks for listening.